We're a third of the way. All is well. I only threw up twice. We're on our way. We're talking cold. Have you ever tried to wipe your butt with a wet wipe? A wet wipe?
Guess where we're going next? Right there. If it's big and in front of us, that's where we're going.
Our second show.
Gotta go home, go see Mama. Yeah. Well, any last comments?
Well, I have to say, Dreamer, you're the man. Continuing source of inspiration in my life.
Yeah.
As you always have been. And, you're certainly one to follow, and I mean that not just literally, but metaphorically as well. So, thank you for being such an encouragement.
Thank you for a very kind compliment.
Yeah. It was a very humbling trip. A lot harder than I imagined it to be, you know.
What a great group of people, huh?
Oh,
Wonderful.
fabulous.
Well, drive careful going home.
Yeah.
Give Mom a big hug.
Hey, buddy.
Love you guys. I'm sitting up here on what I think is called Spy Rock. Just a magnificent view of the valley that the folks at Woods Hole own in partnership with their uncle. And I can't begin to put into words what the last 2 days at Woods Hole meant to me. It was unbelievable. They were not only a wonderful place, but they're just wonderful people. And I needed a rest and a break, and I got a rest and a break and an experience that in many, many ways brought me closer to home and wholeness than I felt in a long time. And I just want to thank Michael and Neville for not only their hospitality, but sharing the parts of them that are just so special. They just made everybody feel so at home. And it's one of the few places I've been to that the hikers really respect. And because there are a few crazy hikers out there and that don't tend to abide by the rules, or at least want to stretch them as much as they're able. But there's almost a holy reverence kind of to the place, and it's not hushed tones, but it's definitely not the kind of place where people are hollering and screaming and partying and raising the usual kind of hell that you find in most places. I am blessed to have stopped there and blessed to have met them. And it was very hard leaving. I felt the gravitational pull when I got into Hot Springs. The vortex pull meter was like at 6 or something like that, and then I felt it again in Irwin, and I felt it again in Damascus. But boy, I'll tell you what, the vortex pull meter to stay was peaking out at Woods Hole. I could have easily done another day, but if I'd have done another day, I'd have done another day, and I might have never left. Special place. Thank you, Michael. Neville. Smokes, you having fun?
Hey, good morning, Dreamer. How's it going?
I'm going good. Nice place here, huh?
Yeah. Actually, we didn't plan to stay here for the night, but we checked out the place and we're like, damn, we'll stay here.
Well, I've been thinking about this moment for the last couple of days, and I knew it was coming. This is these blazes behind me are the first blazes I saw 2 years ago when I hiked from here. I can't remember the name of the mountain road, but I'll put it on the screen, to Front Royal. This is where I started, and these were the first blazes that I saw. And I wondered what it would feel like to one day hike to this point, knowing everything I know now after starting down in Georgia and hiking to here rather than getting dropped off here. I'm back again, and I feel really good about it. The mindset this time is just totally different. Last time I was apprehensive and a bit scared, and this time I know exactly what's ahead of me and what's going on, and I feel good about that. So, onward and upward. Seven, what are you doing?
I'm contemplating the mysteries of life inside of this cool shelter. Oh, getting ready to hike on, I suppose.
Okay. Another one hurt by the trail.
I'm overcoming.
2 days.
This don't look too good. I think I put my camera away to go over this baby. Nice. Oh, very nice. Now there's a shot of the Kiefer oak. That's the largest oak tree on the Appalachian Trail. I guess there's one in Maryland that's older, but this one is the largest. I put my pack in the picture just to give a little perspective. I'm not sure if it does it or not, but that is a huge tree. Well, I'm about a mile and a half or so from Sarver Shelter, climbing up a really steep mountain here. Some of you are asking about seeing some of the hard times as well as some of the good. Well, I've hiked up about 1,000 feet from the Kiefer Oak, and I still have another 400 or 500 feet to go. And this is almost so straight uphill you can touch the hill in front of you when you're walking. This is really hard. I feel like I'm back in Georgia again on those hills and being out of shape. I can only hike like 200 or 300 feet and then I have to stop. And it's really hard. Can't wear my glasses because I sweat all over them. For all of you that wanted a hard time, this is a hard time. Good morning. Just finished hiking up about, I don't know, 1,600 feet or so from the day shelter and made it up to, as you can see behind me here, the Audie Murphy Memorial. Audie Murphy is one of those heroes of mine from when I was a kid. I was born in 1953 and raised to play army out in the woods and that sort of thing. And Audie Murphy, as many of you know, became known more so for his Hollywood acting, even though how poor it was. But nonetheless, Audie Murphy during World War II gained 24 medals of decoration, including the Medal of Honor and many other awards as well. So he was one of my heroes as a kid and still is. And he was killed on this site. I'm not exactly sure when. It says on the sign back here. 1971, May 28th. He was killed in a plane crash here. So anyway, really nice memorial here and top of the mountain. It's time to celebrate and time to mourn as well. The passing of a legend that did a lot for his country. Well, somewhere here there's a trail, and I believe it goes up those rocks. Oh yeah, there's a blaze on a tree. So it's a little rock climbing experience. Not unlike a lot of the trail in Virginia. Lots of rocks.
Yeah, we went down there and I went down to get water and I almost stepped on one. And yeah, like all of a sudden it started rattling, it took off into the weeds. And I saw it and it was still rattling, I jumped and then took off, you know.
They're out there.
And
Summertime, yeah.
those kids were sitting there and I was like, hey, make sure you're looking for snakes. I just about stepped on a big one, you know, and then just kept walking to see if I could keep them on their toes.
Well, I asked them to sleep down there. They're gonna sleep around us, and I said, no, I don't think so. We should sleep down by that old torn down house. It was a big, huge, they had like 8 tents or 9 tents. I said, look, that's perfect down there. You need to go do that.
Right.
And the cop looked at me kind of funny, but they took me down there. Then you can hear them singing down there and have a great old time.
You're like, see?
We will shut it down at 8:30.
Hey, like, I'm ready to go to bed.
It's nighttime.
It's like your bedtime right about now. I'm Two Tails.
Two tails. Two tails and sriracha. Why two tails?
Because I have this mermaid tattoo and she has 2 tails.
Oh. And why would you put a mermaid with 2 tails on your leg?
Well, I've always loved mermaids, and when I started researching images for mermaids, the 2-tailed mermaid came up, and it's an ancient Celtic symbol of feminine intuition and power. And my family's of Celtic descent, and so I went with the 2 tails.
Nice. So you got any tough stories that you guys endured on the trail so far?
We had kind of a horror day 2 days ago too, because we woke up and within 20 minutes on the trail, I was hiking along the trail and I looked down mid-step and I yelped like a dog that someone had just kicked, and I jumped about 8 feet forward and there was a snake at least 4 feet long and probably about that big around that was sitting right next, parallel to the trail, probably 3 inches. decided it was just totally still. And it was like a dark maroon with like black and yellow, and I was like, that's too bright. It could be, I don't know what that is. And it was just looking at me, and I'm like, Katie, just go around. Just wide circle around. And that was the very first thing that happened that day. So the next 2 hours we were hiking, and I was like terrified the whole time. I was scanning every little bit of trail, like, okay, where's the next one to be? And 2 hours later, a huge black snake crawled out from in front of us, went into a field. I just don't like snakes. It rained 3 times during the day. We ended up crossing that big ridge line. We both fell multiple times. Fell flat on our faces in the middle of this rock ridge, little rock ridges that are filled with water and super slippery.
We experienced our first ticks as well.
Yeah, I started picking ticks off me for the first time on the trip. It was like all the bad things happened in this one day.
So are you guys gonna finish?
I actually decided last week that I'm getting off at Troutville.
Troutville?
Yeah, so this is pretty much my last couple days out here.
Yeah, I've quit in my mind 100 times, maybe 1,000.
Yeah.
That's tougher than people think.
It is.
It is.
When I first wanted to change my trail name early on, she was like, "What do you think? What do you want your trail name to be?" And I said, "Quitter," because I would think about it every day. But the actual decision to get off trail didn't really feel like quitting.
Yeah.
It was more just like early on, I was thinking about quitting because it was hard, and then I decided to get off trail, but it was because I was like, I'm enjoying myself and I feel like I'm content with my experience. That was more of like the decision was like, okay, if you like that, then okay, that's fine. Don't quit because it's hard.
Yeah.
Or because, like our friend Jilly, who is a former thru-hiker, she mentioned before, like her advice was like, don't quit on a rainy day.
Or on
Like,
uphill.
if everything's going well and you still feel like you're content with what's going on and you don't need to go any further, then that's fine. You can leave it. You take it or leave it.
Yeah.
But if you're having a really bad day, you're probably just having a really bad day.
A lot of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Want to say hi to anybody?
My dad.
Hi, Dad.
Yeah.
I'll say hi to everyone soon.
Who
are you anyway?
Who am I? My name is Woodman.
Woodman.
I am from Franklin, Tennessee, small city right outside of Nashville.
And how much weight have you lost?
I'd say it probably about 25 pounds now.
25 pounds.
So you don't recognize me from back in early March when we were hiking together, do you?
Oh, I do, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, your face is so much thinner than it was.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It is. Are you trying to lose weight or you just happy?
No, I have got a bag full of Big Texas cinnamon buns I put in there, Snicker bars, Power balls, like anything I could get in there that had calories.
You're still here after 700 miles.
700 miles.
What's the secret?
Secret is just persistence.
That's right.
You've got to have the will to do it. If you don't have the will to do it, this hike is over.
Well, it's about 7 o'clock in the morning. I think it's Sunday. I don't know. Not sure what the date is either. Maybe the 19th. Just left Four Pines Hostel. Walking down the road a third of a mile to get back to the trail. Kind of undecided what I'm going to do today. I could pull up short of McAfee's Knob if the weather's bad and spend the night, or I could go on to Lambert's Meadow, or I can do the whole 23.5 miles into Daleville. We'll see. I really feel like getting into Daleville because I can't not imagine spending another rainy night. I'm just so tired of it. Just a bed would be wonderful. And as you can see, it's not raining at the moment. It's been raining the last couple of days. That's why I did not get any video at all of Dragon's Tooth. It was just raining too hard. In fact, it's just starting to sprinkle as I say that. Jeez, oh Pete. Oh well, here we go. Another day. So who are you? Where are you from?
I'm Analog from Seattle, Washington.
Analog. Why analog?
Just my style is pretty much contrary to digital. Don't carry anything, no cell phone, no iPod,
Gotcha.
no GPS. Not needed out here.
So,
just the way I flow.
why are you out here?
Just to hike, really keep it simple, and you know, hike the Appalachian Trail. Good people, good places.
What's your favorite so far?
Virginia's been beautiful, but people of the South, good biscuits. It's all been wonderful, really.
Good.
Yeah, fellow hikers, yourself included.
You've hiked other trails?
I've hiked the PCT last year. Hope to finish this one and then someday do the CDT, other long trails.
How does the AT compare with PCT?
It's definitely wetter, a little bit hilly, more steep ups and downs.
Yeah.
But as with all through hikes, good people, communities are supportive. Can't say enough about just the good people you see on trail.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else?
No, I think that about sums it up. Early morning interview.
Early morning, yeah.
On a beautiful pasture outside of Catawba, Virginia. Hanging with my friend Dreamer.
At the moment it's not raining, so I wanted to get a video of this because it's so eerie. It's hard to describe. Like 150% humidity. Like walking into this dark. Wow. I thought I'd take a minute and show you exactly how it is that I've put together my favorite lunch or my favorite snack. And I'm at Catawba Shelter, about a mile from McAfee's Knob. And as you can probably hear, it's raining. Another miserable day. What I've got here is a tortilla, a flour tortilla, not corn tortilla. Corn, they tend to break apart after a few days and they're really messy. Flour's the best, and I really like the whole wheat ones, but they're really hard to find. So, tuna fish and a little baggie. The only negative here is it's a little heavy, so are the tortillas. But the secret ingredient here is Arby's horsey sauce. I had a craving for this a few weeks ago and called home to put a request in to have somebody go gank some sauce from the local Arby's. And thankfully, my family came through for me and sent me a whole bunch of packages of horsey sauce and Arby's sauce and some hot sauce. So that's how that goes together. And of course you know the rest. Fold this baby up. And it's delicious. Bon appetit. There's a couple things I've been thinking about as I was hiking, and now I can't remember what it was I wanted to say, but I thought I'd use this opportunity when I'm inside, and I don't like taking my camera out in the rain, obviously, so I've missed the views of Dragon's Tooth, and I'm going to miss McAfee's Knob as well, because it's only sprinkling at the moment, but it's been pouring all morning. I did want to mention a couple things. One, this particular shelter right here, Catawba, I think it's pronounced, this is where I met Big Sky. And so a shout out to you, Dave. I sure appreciate all the help you've been to me on your advice on the trail and equipment and those kinds of things. But this was the shelter that we met at 2 or 3 years ago when I thru-hiked. And so shout out to Dave there. The other thing I want to talk about was For those of you that are thinking about through hiking or a long distance hike, I did something pretty smart. Look at that, my fingers are pruning. They haven't been dry in days. Anyway, for those of you that are thinking about a long distance hike, what I did is my wife and I, Sox and I had hiked many times before, 100-mile hikes and less. So we were familiar with backpacking, but what I wanted to do was get out and get a real taste for what it would be like. So I planned for a month, and I planned to hike in Virginia in the spring when the hikers were coming through, which is when I met Big Sky. And so I did it for two reasons. One, I wanted to see if it was something that I could physically do, which was important. But also, and more importantly, is I wanted to see if it was really something that I really wanted to do. Because, sometimes in life you get what you ask for and then it's not what you wanted. And so I came and hiked by myself for 3 weeks. And then Sox joined me for a week or 10 days or so to hike through the Shenandoahs. And then we ended up near Front Royal. So anybody thinking about a long distance hike, I'd recommend you do something like that, because that'll tell you a lot about yourself and whether or not it's really something you want to do. Now, having said that, after hiking now for 2.5 months, it has been I am so close to quitting right now. Tonight, sometime later this evening, I'm going to be in Daleville and in a motel. And I had planned a 0 day. There, my computer's there, and I'm going to edit another video or two. But I'm really going to give it some honest thought of whether or not I'm going to pull off. I'm just so tired of. There's just so many things, It's like the weather can break you. It's just been like this almost every day I can't even remember when. And a couple days it wasn't. It was sunny and 85, and the humidity was 100%. Miserable kind of hiking, and I honestly can't remember the last day I hiked with dry shoes or dry socks. The hills, the rocks. But really, there's only two good things out here, and that's food and the other people, the other hikers. Otherwise, sometimes I lose sight of what it is that I'm trying to achieve. Today I went over 700 miles, and you'd think that there would be a moment of celebration, but quite frankly, I didn't even care. This is a lot harder than I had thought.